A Muppet fanboy must unite with the group to stop their legacy from being tarnished.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with
Michelle,
Andre,
Luis,
and me, Emily. We're a family-friendly podcast where we pick a new Disney movie each week. We watch it, share our thoughts, and then relate it to pop culture, fandoms, and anything else that pops into our heads. Enjoy!
hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 95.
hey there, all you cool cats and kittens.
Hello, cool cats. Hello, kittens. What's
and
happening?
Muppets.
And Muppets. And guess what? We're still at home. We're still on video. We're still here. Still happening. And this week on the Walt Vault, we are talking about the 2011 live-action film, The Muppets.
This was like one of my first exposures to the Muppets.
One of the first. You've seen Muppet stuff.
Like, not like all the way through. I haven't seen the movies only because you've shown them to me.
Interesting.
Okay, well, this movie that we're doing is considered a remake because all the Muppet Run stuff was like in the 70s and 80s and all then. And so this is a remake of the Muppet movie in 2011. It's starring Jason Segel.
Yep,
Yeah, Jason Segel and Amy Adams.
He also wrote it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
And Amy Adams. And then the Muppets Extraordinaire with cameo on cameo on cameo.
There's a lot of cameos.
Big stars.
A lot of cameos, which I really appreciated. So
It was actually really fun to just wait for the next person to come on screen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. So let's go ahead and start with first impressions. Luis, we will start with you. Had you seen this before, Luis?
No.
No. Okay.
It was fun. I actually saw the second one before I saw this one. It was a fun movie.
Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure before I move on. It was a fun movie, I agree. Andre, first impression.
I love the Muppets. I saw this movie when it came out, I think, or like after it came out on video, and then I liked it a lot then. I really liked it this time. This was a really fun viewing of the Muppets because I think we've only done one other Muppets movie for the podcast. Muppet Treasure Island, and that was a fun Muppet movie.
That was so good.
But I think I like this one more in terms of its Muppetdom.
Muppet.
Cool. Muppetdom.
Yeah.
All right, Emily, first impression.
This is I want to say my second time watching this movie, and the first time I watched it, I was a little, I don't think that I was in the right mindset to watch it because I was like, this is so like annoying. Like I thought it was like much more annoying than I did this time. It's when you look at it from the perspective that it's funny and it's like making fun of things, it's hilarious.
Right.
You just have to be in the right mindset, I think, to be able to enjoy what they're doing on screen because it's either a callback to something, a cameo of someone famous, or it's literally making fun of something. So
yeah, definitely.
I had to be like in the right mindset, but I went into it thinking it was going to be funny and it didn't disappoint. I thought it was very cute.
I agree. We watched it this morning when we woke up and you just wake up on a Sunday, you get your coffee, your cereal in bed and watch it. It was really fun.
It was
like a good way to start my day. It made me really happy. It's like one of those feel-good movies. Really fun. This is only the second time I've seen it. The only reason I remember the first time I saw it is because I went on a date and we went to that movie and then we went to Korean barbecue after and I got food poisoning. So I think that's why I haven't watched this movie because all I remember is the food poisoning.
Man.
And that
and the bad date.
It was a bad day. I didn't go on another date after
This
that.
this movie is tied to all kinds of tragedy in Michelle's
all I
life.
remember is the food poisoning. That's about it. But it was so fun. I really like this movie. I love Jason Segel. I really like Amy Adams. It makes sense that Jason Segel wrote this in the music. If you've ever seen like Forgetting Sarah Marshall or bits and pieces of How I Met Your Mother, that's totally like his style, you know?
Yeah.
So I think we could all say that from our first impressions, we enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Enjoyable.
It's
Did Addie
totally
watch this with you guys?
She did, and she thought it was very cute. She was
Okay.
like, every time a new Muppet came on, she was like, ooh! She had no idea what they were, obviously.
Yeah.
But she just, ooh! she knew Kermit was a frog,
Oh.
but she's like, ooh, frog.
He doesn't look like a frog
Yeah,
at
we had
all
that-
to me.
we had
He
that
is a
discussion.
lizard. That is a lizard.
Dude, he's not even any of those things. Like, I don't know what he is. But I think she only called him Kermit the Frog because someone said the frog. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't because she looked at it and was like, oh yeah, totally, Kermit's a frog.
Oh, this guy right here, he's
Yeah.
a frog.
So what I was thinking about too is that we probably should have like phoned your mom or something. I don't know, because your mom is a big Muppets fan and
Ah.
Kermit specifically. Because I
Oh, yeah.
remember when I bought you Disney leggings, like every time I would see Kermit ones, I would like think of your mom and how she
Oh,
really
yeah.
likes it. And I'm assuming this is something she watched like a lot, like the Muppets show.
Yeah.
You know, and more stuff like that. So this was like the first kind of like revival though, because I feel like there's more Muppet stuff now. Yes, there was that weird Muppet show at Disney California Adventure, and that's probably where I knew Muppets the most.
Oh.
And then they tried to do that Muppet TV show, which I actually thought was really funny.
I
They
like
could
that show
have
a lot.
kept it.
I thought it was so funny.
It
Yeah.
was,
Oh
right?
my God.
So I
That
think
was like the first year, I think, of our marriage, maybe the second year, and we watched it and we laughed hard. Like that's
was
but
really
it was more
funny.
adult,
and
I
I
think.
wish I wish they would have kept that.
That's right.
There is that really adult Muppet movie. We never watch it because it looks really raunchy. Like it's an
Oh,
adult.
but that's not really Muppets
Right.
though. That's
It's just
It wasn't Jim Henson?
no.
Puppets.
I think it's like an offshoot of the Henson Company by like
Oh.
Jim Henson's cousin or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like it's literally
So
that derivative.
I don't know. I just
Oh,
you know
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. No,
it
I've
was
never seen it.
raunchy.
It's called
Yeah.
The Happy Time.
No, I
Machine.
saw a
Happy
trailer of
Time
it.
Murders.
Yeah,
Anyways, I
yeah.
thought that was supposed to be like a spin-off of the Muppets. But
No.
because I didn't really know the Muppets that much from all of that stuff, obviously I knew the Rainbow Connection song. I knew who Kermit was in Piggy, and I knew stuff from the California Adventure show that I would say, like, I agree with you, it's probably my favorite Muppet movie, but I haven't seen, like, all the other Muppet movies, so I don't have much to compare to. But Andre and I were having the discussion, and I think it would be fun. We were talking about who our favorite Muppet is.
Oh, I know who my favorite is, especially
okay.
in this movie.
Oh,
Do you
and
have a
in this
favorite?
movie, too?
Huh?
In this movie, too?
Well, in this movie, I definitely have a favorite.
Okay.
Doesn't mean my favorite Muppet forever, but in this movie, I have a favorite.
Oh,
Gotcha.
interesting.
Okay, so I'll start. My favorite
go ahead.
Muppet of all, anytime, is Beaker. Like
Yes!
Honeydew and Beaker, and he, right? I think he's hilarious. But in this movie, Bobo the bear is my
Oh,
favorite.
yes.
The henchman who's like,
Yes.
"Are we the bad guys?"
You think we're working for the bad guy? He
So
said that like
Hilarious.
an hour and a half into the movie.
Like at the end, I really like Bobo in this movie. He's funny.
I loved him in the Muppet Show. He was funny in the
He
Muppet
was,
Show.
yeah.
I don't think I got a favorite.
You don't have a favorite from this movie, Lou? No?
No? Seriously?
How about your least favorite? I know you got one of those.
True.
I'm not a big fan of Fozzie Bear. I think he's an idiot.
Come on.
I agree. I told Andre. I said I don't like Fozzie Bear. It doesn't do it for me.
I like Fozzie Bear because he's a failed comedian and he reminds me of myself.
Well, you're not a
Get outta
local
here.
comedian, sir. You're actually a pretty successful local comedian. Just all your shows got canceled because of the quarantine. You
Yeah.
know, so.
You know what I will say is that I remember Luis really liking Scooter in the TV show.
In the TV show, he was cool, but he was very much like
Who is
in
that
the
one
back
again?
scene in this one.
Scooter's the one that was like this stage manager in this one. He was like running around and then
Oh,
Right,
was
right.
like, try to go on stage, and he's like,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's never one of my favorites.
favorite Muppet of all time is the same one as yours, Emily. It's Beaker, because he is hilarious. I love like going back and watching, like when I think of Muppets, that's what I think is of them two together, the scientist
yeah.
ones, and they're like doing all the stuff, and he's in the background like "Meow, meow." I love that. I think it's so
He's just running
so-
around, just getting blown up and
Yes.
stuff. It's hilarious.
And it was funny because as the movie was going on, I was like, I like Miss Piggy. I like Miss Piggy. Maybe Miss Piggy is my favorite. And then the Beaker and them came on, and I was like, that's my favorite. Like, it was like I remembered him, you know?
Yeah.
So Beaker is my favorite. In this movie, my favorite was that little dog thingy where he was mad that he wasn't in the montage. He was like, I thought
Rolf.
Who was that, Ralph?
Rolf.
Wait, he wasn't mad. He was
Well,
just like, I think my thing
He
was
wasn't
a lot
mad,
fun.
but he
He
was
was
like,
like-
I think my story's pretty good. He's just taking a nap, and they're like, hey, Ralph,
I
we're
I
gonna
thought that was
go get the
hilarious,
Muppets back
yeah.
together, and he's like, yep. That's totally me. So I loved him the best in this movie. That
He's
was-
always the one playing the piano, and I love it because he
Yeah.
has these big old paws, and he's just like,
yeah, he was freaking hilarious in this one. I just loved that little snippet because I could relate to that like so
that
much.
was good. That
So
was good.
funny. Yeah.
What about you, Andre?
I think my favorite Muppet of all time is Miss Piggy. She's just so hilarious to me.
Mhm.
She and her and Kermit's very contentious and rocky relationship is always just
Hilarious.
made that much better by how clingy and weird she is. She's, oh, Kermit. When she saw him in this, she was like, Kermit.
Wow, that sounds really good, babe. Good job.
You're really
That's
good at that.
My favorite talking Muppet is Miss Piggy.
Yeah. Yeah, she has the best voice. She has the best reactions to stuff. She reminds me of like you know when you see celebrities going crazy, like she reminds me of Jennifer
Britney in 2008.
Yeah. She reminds me of like Jennifer Aniston and Britney Spears and
Jennifer Lawrence, like in real
yeah.
life.
Just all of them at their worst moments. That's what Miss Piggy is to me. She's fantastic.
You know who else I really like is oh man, I like the Swedish Chef too. He's beakery,
I was
you
just
know.
about to
Yeah.
say that.
He's
I love
Beaker-esque because he has real hands. Like,
Yeah.
why does he have real people hands? But
He does. I love him too. How come I like all the ones that don't really talk? That are like doodly doo doo doo.
The Swedish Chef is just so funny because it's all just nonsense that he's like. At one point in this movie, he was like firing a gun, and it was like.
oh, a
I
gibberish
cremated
Scarface. I love it. It's just
Yes.
fantastic.
So good.
I love the
You made it
Muppets. They're all so
those
funny.
Oh yeah, he like took a blowtorch to all of his vegetables in the
Yes.
fridge.
Oh yeah, that's what it was in the
In the fridge.
They were all like rotten.
It was
and
all
stuff.
nasty.
That's hilarious. I love it.
All right, let's talk about the plot of this movie just a
Oh,
little bit,
I
right?
was gonna talk about the other Muppet that I don't understand.
Oh yeah, who else?
Who was that really tall Muppet? The big one?
The furry one, the hairy one.
Yeah.
The blue one.
I
right?
don't know his name,
Oh, and the blue one. What the heck was that?
Oh.
dude. I've never seen that blue one before.
Exactly, the tall one, right?
Like
Yeah.
huge one. It looked like an
Nah.
elephant thing. I've never
Yeah.
seen that one.
I have no idea what that was.
Okay, well at least I'm not the only one because I was like, I don't understand what that is. But the other thing that I noticed a lot more, we'll get into it, but when Kermit was doing his song in his house by himself, all I could see was the hand. Like I could tell when it was lifting a finger. I could see like the knuckles in the back of Kermit's head, and I've never noticed that before about Kermit. And the whole time I was just sitting in my bed watching it, like freaked out.
But you know, that's the funny
out.
thing is that because Kermit of all of them is the most hand.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like
And-
a
But
puppet.
I never put that together in my brain until this viewing.
But it's funny too because, and I totally agree with you, but Kermit, I think it's because he's the most of a hand, right? Made out of most
Mhm.
hand. He has like mannerisms that the other Muppets don't. Do you know what I mean? Like he, like this, he does that with his mouth. You know, he goes like,
Right.
Like, and just,
And they can make his eyes. Oh yeah, they can like squint his whole face
Yeah.
in. It's very
and the
interesting.
other ones, it's like they're using things to move the eyebrows and stuff. But he is all like hand movements. So I totally agree. It's like you can see
Crazy.
his cranium in the back of the hand.
Yes. And I just
His
never
cranium.
put it together
His
until right
knucklehead,
now.
literally.
Had this really weird epiphany about him actually being a puppet Muppet. You know what I mean? Like he is a puppet Muppet.
Well, you know what's really funny about this movie? I mean, I guess it's pretty obvious when you look at it, but you know, we're 100% in the age of CGI everything.
Right.
And there's like very little CGI in this movie at all, if at all. They wanted it all to be like Muppet specific, so it looked Muppety.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we watched other things where we thought things that looked Muppety were weird, but here it makes sense. And I think that if it didn't, it would look weird.
Right. The Muppets are like, they're so practical. Like literally in every scene. I think they use like a lot of like blue screen and green screen and stuff like that behind them. But the Muppets themselves are also practical, and so they can interact with real stuff. So why throw in a whole bunch of CGI in there if you can avoid it?
Well, and if you think about it in that way, they didn't do anything that they couldn't actually do on like a set. They did like explosions and stuff, but it wasn't like you saw the explosion. It was like you saw the back of the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it was on a set versus like.
The only scene I'm thinking has like a lot of special effects is when they're kidnapping Jack Black and and they're like swinging around him on the ropes.
So good.
That was very funny.
Okay, so plot wise, I mean, we can go pretty quickly through it. I think
it's pretty simple.
It's a simple plot.
Pretty much, we meet before we ever even get to the Muppet side of it. We meet Walter and Gary, who are brothers.
Yes.
One is a Muppet, one is a man.
Yes.
And
Walter's a Muppet.
Hey, my Muppet.
Gary's a man.
And apparently they're brothers.
They're brothers. Yeah. You know.
Whatever.
We'll get past it.
Sometimes you come out a Muppet.
and Walter is so in love with the Muppets. And growing up, they did all kinds of Muppety things together. But since they're now adults, Gary has a girlfriend of 10 years, and he's going to go off to LA, and they're going to go on their 10-year anniversary trip and just hang out in LA because they live in small town USA, literally. And so they wake up in the morning, and Gary's going to go, and Walter's like, no, whatever. They all end up going together, and Mary, the girlfriend, is obviously annoyed, but
having
go along
it.
with it. Amy Adams is like, all right, I'll do it. So then they all end up in LA to go to the Muppet Studios.
Yes.
And it's a wreck.
Oh,
It's a
It's a
dump.
disaster.
it's a dump.
It's a dump.
It's not what Walter expected, whatsoever.
No. So they start going through the studio tour led by Alan Arkin, who I
He's awesome.
love. Alan
Michael's
Arkin.
awesome.
And what's his name? Walter.
He goes into Kermit's office.
Breaks into Kermit's office and overhears a evil plot by an oil baron to buy the whole studios. He says he's going to make it into a museum, but he actually is secretly buying it because he knows there's oil underneath the studios and he wants to tear it all down.
Which is very funny. There's oil underneath this studio in the middle of LA.
In the middle of two other buildings.
Yeah.
Oil.
Well, and I think they also like comment on the ridiculousness of this too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The oil baron's like something about it's weird that oil's there, but that's what the geological thing says. You know what I mean? Like, so I think, and that's what I love about this movie too, is they break the wall and they're just like, yep,
Yeah.
this is going to be a very short movie because the Muppets aren't getting back together. You know, things like that. Where I'm like, I love that.
This movie's
I love it.
it's very meta.
So it's very
Does
simple.
that bother you that they break the wall in this fashion?
Ironically enough, it's never bothered me with the Muppets.
Right. Because like they've always been on-screen personalities that know that they're on-screen personalities. They're always performers. So they're always like, oh, the audience is over here and we're over here.
No, it works. It makes sense for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the story is very simple. They either lose the studio to the oil baron or they have to raise $10 million. Kermit, what kind of contract are you putting together, you idiot? They have to raise $10 million to be able to keep it.
To buy the theater
right?
back. Yeah.
So
Which let's pause. They obviously didn't care to keep it if they haven't cared to keep it for the last 25
Right, yeah,
years.
what
But
are we doing?
apparently, all of a sudden, everyone's all worried about it.
All these cobwebs and now you want it back, huh?
And yeah, it's just like your ex. No. So they go on a whirlwind adventure to get everyone back together, fix the studio, make a telethon, get a celebrity personnel to host it, and raise that $10 million.
Yes.
By what? Tomorrow night or something?
Right. There's a couple of montages of them gathering together all of the Muppets.
My favorite one is when they go to get Animal.
That was funny.
Animal is in anger management, which is
Perfect.
so funny. He's in there with Jack Black. He's a sponsor, and the leader of anger management is Kristen Shaw, who played. Wait, who did she play?
With Mabel.
Mabel, that's right, on Gravity Falls.
And Trixie on Toy Story, remember?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. The dinosaur who goes on the internet. Yes, so they're in anger management.
Wait, this isn't the dinosaur that's like, let's get him in jail?
No.
No.
That was the unicorn.
Okay.
Yeah, send dad
Is
to
he a
jail.
unicorn?
Yeah, he is. He is the unicorn. That's Jeff Garland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Trixie is the one that's like, rerouting, turn around now when they're in the RV.
Yes.
So funny.
Man, there's a lot of Disney people in this. I guess I didn't even.
I also like
Didn't even
the
think about
fact that they pick up Fozzie and Reno.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! And there's
Poor
like
Fozzie,
the
man.
gunshots and the police in the background.
I swear to God, I've done shows
That's
exactly
how
like
Reno
that
is like. Okay,
in Reno.
we've gone to Reno for Andre shows, and that is what it's like. I hate going to Reno. I hate it. So I related to that scene so much.
Yes, in Reno, they pick up Fozzie, but they also realize that he's been working with a group that's calling themselves the Muppets. There's a fake Miss Piggy and a fake Kermit who's like really dark green or gray or whatever. It's very funny.
Feels funny.
What are you looking at, sister?
They go to get Gonzo, and Gonzo has become a toilet tycoon. He's just a CEO of a toilet business. And basically, as soon as they ask him to come back, he's like, no, I can't do it. I have to stay here and run my business. And then they go outside, and he's like, well, actually.
No, the chicken is like you don't have
Oh,
to.
that's right, the chicken. The chicken is.
I don't know what it is with that guy in chickens, man. It's annoying.
He's always loved chickens. I don't know why.
Yeah, so he rips off his clothes. He's got his super suit on that he's been wearing for 25 years, and he jumps off the building.
Daredevil suit.
Hurts himself really badly, and then self-destructs his entire business with one button that he had prepared. I really like that. I really like the forethought that he had to to blow up his business.
Eventually, I'm going to need to, get rid of all these millions of toilets.
You know, I wish I was working for him when he did that, because I would have sued him for everything he's worth. Because when the heck did he tell me he has a button that's going to explode the whole thing?
He could have sold the business and acquired $3.5 million of their $10 million.
No, that's not Gonzo. Gotta blow it up.
Go ahead and take a seat on the executive line of my used toilets.
Yeah. Used toilets. So gross.
Disgusting.
And then they go to get Miss Piggy.
Uh-oh.
Miss Piggy is she's
A fashion tycoon.
a fashion tycoon, a la The Devil Wears Prada. She even has an Emily Blunt assistant.
Oh my God, it was so good.
That was
Love
very funny.
it.
That was very funny. That Emily Blunt won't let the Muppets up to see Miss Piggy, so Fozzie Bear comes up with the idea to do Muppet Man, which is just all of them.
Have they
together.
done them before in another show?
I feel like they've done it in another movie.
Probably because
I feel like I've seen that before, and we watched The Great Muppet Caper and another one of the Muppets Take Manhattan, and maybe it happened in one of those.
It might have, because it seems familiar. But Miss Piggy is so pissed that she fell for Muppet Man. She's like, "Come on, still Muppet Man."
I think Muppet Man might only be from this movie.
It might be.
Oh, maybe.
But I mean, similar things have been done in other movies.
Sure, but
you
it's
know?
just very funny the image of Fozzie's face and then everybody else's hands and body walking around and trying to.
There was like at one point there was like two hands coming out of the handhole.
Yeah. So they fall apart, and Miss Piggy is like, "I can't believe I'm supposed to Muppet Man." And then Kermit's there, and then her and Kermit have a moment because these two just can't get enough of each other. Apparently, just,
They're like that couple that breaks up and keeps getting back together. And every time they get back together, you're like, not again. You know what I mean?
but I bet
That's them.
there's some people who are like, they're gonna make it this time. This is the time that this is gonna happen for them.
I won't even lie, that's me. I'm like, come on, get married already.
And then a la Parent Trap-esque, they have like their photo split in half of like them apparently getting married. It's so ridiculous. It's literally the parent trap where I'm like,
Am I blocking your view to the TV, Louise?
He's like, stop it. And she doesn't come, but she shows up eventually because, Miss Piggy kind of runs the show.
Yeah.
Like Kermit does too, but Miss Piggy kind of runs the show.
Absolutely.
I don't know what they would do without her. So, yeah, from here, the storyline is pretty simple. I will say, though, that Walter kind of bugs me. Like, I'm not super into him as a Muppet.
As a character.
But Gary, I love. And Amy Adams. Okay, and Andre made this comment. He thinks that she has the best song in this movie.
Easily the best song.
Like, she's killing it.
All of her musical numbers are
they're funny.
The funniest.
They're very. I like that she gets to get like that's hilarious because when you always wanted to do that.
The party by myself.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
I like Am I a Man or Am I a Muppet?
Am I a man?
Okay, I'm just gonna say this now.
I'm a Muppet of a man.
There were way too many songs. Way too many songs.
It's a musical.
No, it's a musical.
Way too many songs.
I mean,
it felt like the appropriate number of songs for a musical.
Yeah.
It's way too many songs for a Muppet movie. I accept that Muppet movies have songs. Way too many in this one.
No.
I think that's
it was a good amount.
I think that's all Jason Segel. I think
that's very him.
He is a musical type person. I'm trying to look.
I will tell you though, the whole second half when they're doing the telethon, all of the music is hilarious.
Yes.
So good.
All of the current music at that time that they redid was so good.
Yeah.
I liked right before the show started and they were cleaning up the theater and We Built This City just starts playing. We built this city.
That's so Muppety. I don't know. I love it. I think that there was
this city onto its heroes.
Luis is like, I like that one.
Come on, where's that from?
Oh, I don't know.
It's from
New Girl.
Ah, New Girl. Okay.
29.
29.
So good. So there's kind of the main storyline is them trying to save the Muppet Theater, but then there's this side storyline of like Amy Adams always being alone and like Gary always wants to be with his brother, but not with her, which is like actually really sad. She's like too sweet about it. So I think that's when she has the Me Party song. I'm like, you go, girl.
Me Party.
But it's just
Which
I feel really.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it sucks because like she's never been to LA. She knows she's on her 10-year anniversary trip. She's not spent any time with him, but she still wants to go out and see stuff.
Right.
So she like goes out and sightsees, but then she's like sad because she's by herself in a city she's never been in.
Yeah.
In like 10 years, get married already. Like, you know what I mean? Andre and I were like, oh no.
It's their 10-year anniversary?
10 year? Even Andre didn't wait that long. It took him 3.
And he
10?
has, all right, took me. And it didn't even seem like he had thought about popping the question before this.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it was really funny. I didn't
But
realize.
remember, she probably has her own health insurance though, because she's a teacher.
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
She's like the greatest teacher of all time. Those kids at the beginning are like, well, you're just gonna have to go on spring break, and they're like, oh, no more learning. But yeah, I didn't realize.
Luis has never had that happen to him.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I didn't realize until like midway through the movie that their names are Mary and Gary.
Yeah.
And that they rhyme.
They marry Gary. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Like Luis and Ruiz.
That's all me.
That's all you. You and you.
Not you.
It's fine. He gets it together eventually because he realizes he's a man and not a Muppet.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I just think that is so funny that, well, first of all, his Muppet was freaking me out. Like Jason Segel's Muppet.
Oh, it was perfect.
Oh, I mean, it looked exactly like him. It was freaking me out because it had like this jaw and like, I was like, that's a very humanoid Muppet. And then Mr. who's that actor?
Oh, Jim Parsons.
That was perfect for
From,
that
Big
Muppet.
Bang
Oh
Theory.
my
God.
Luis and I do not agree that he was perfect.
What?
We think that like Michael Cera or something because would have been a better. Like he was too
Sheldon.
He was too Sheldon-y.
Right. But
Which
that's
is
like all
not.
he is, you know.
That's like his.
But yeah, you're right. Michael Cera would
Michael
have
Cera
been.
would have been good.
Yeah,
I agree with
that. Would
that.
have been perfect.
I agree with that. But I still think
But-
was so funny with the piano.
Oh,
and everything.
it was too funny. Like you're expecting like them to just sing by themselves, and then they're at those white pianos, and they're
So I watched a lot of Big Bang, and that guy, some people can't leave the role. And he's one of those, in my opinion. He's always going to be Sheldon.
Right. Because
Alright.
they wrote
picked
it,
up
they
Rob.
wrote it to him too much. You know, it's too much who he is.
Well, also Jason Segel wrote this movie to himself too, to like play on his strengths. But that's have you seen
for
Forgetting
sure.
Sarah Marshall?
No.
It's good.
Pretty great. Kristen Bell's in it.
Not
And
a
so
Disney
it's,
movie.
You need to watch that movie because
Sure,
he
guys.
does that same thing there. He like writes jingles and music. Like that's who he is in that movie too. But that's kind of how he was in How I Met Your Mother, and like that's like his thing, you
And
know.
there's
Yeah.
Muppets in the what movie? What the first movie? What
Forgetting Sarah
Forgetting
Marshall.
Sarah Marshall, that one, yeah.
It's really good. You should watch that one.
All right, we'll put it on the list since we have a quarantine list of movies.
There's tons of stuff
There you go.
ready to go. Okay, so the telethon, it starts out pretty bad. There's nobody in the audience, and then it starts to pick up. More celebrities are coming in. Whoopi Goldberg shows up. Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez looks like such a baby.
Like a child.
I mean, this was almost 10 years ago
Oh,
Don't
shoot.
say that.
We're
that
old.
this
I
movie came
forget.
out. Mhm.
Don't say that.
And so as things start going well, the money starts rolling in. They're close to $5, $6, $7 million that they've raised all in this hour and a half long special.
Hi, Ollie. You match Daddy.
That's cute.
Podcast baby in the house.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, sorry.
We got distracted by cuteness.
Yes. They're putting on all the musical numbers.
What is the maniacal laughs dude's actual name?
Oh my gosh, that
Oh.
dude is.
Now does it make more sense because I've said that before? I've been like maniacal.
Yeah, and that's where I got it from, and I didn't realize it until I heard it again, and I was like, oh.
Maniacal.
The character is named Tex Richmond.
Oh, Tex Richmond. That's right.
And he's played by Chris
Purple.
Cooper. That's right.
Yeah, Chris Cooper plays the ultimate like bad guy.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
That guy's face is bad.
He's chewing up all this scenery. He's really hamming it up as the bad guy, and it was really funny. Me and Michelle were dying laughing when he's got his rap song going on about how evil he is.
That was awful.
So ridiculous.
It's like Kermit said, you could have just said no.
That's the whole point, though. It had to be that ridiculous, you know. So he's not having it. He's trying to like cut off the power during their telethon. But I think it looks like a dragon, right? That Muppet.
Deadly.
Oh,
Deadly.
gosh,
Okay,
Deadly is
I like
awful.
him too. No,
I remember Deadly the most from the Muppet Treasure Island. Like that's how I remember him as a kid.
Was
So
he
when I
the
saw
bad
him
guy?
here, well, he was one of the
Like
bad.
main ones?
Well, yeah, he was one of the bad
Yeah,
villain.
I think he's always like a kind of bad guy, at least in a Muppet thing.
I think he's
He's
just
just-
drawn that way. Do you know what I
yes.
mean?
Yeah.
He's just
Well, he
he's just
is, and
created
that's
that
what he
way.
says. He's like, just because I look like this doesn't mean I'm a Muppet, not a Muppet.
Right.
So
That was pretty
stupid.
funny. I like that a lot. And I really liked when he pushed Richmond off of the tower and he
I was like, geez.
fell down. Like, oh my God, is he dead? But no, he's not. He was fine. He's
Yeah, it's a
moving
He
cartoon.
straight up wannabe murdered him though.
around. It was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Attempted Muppet murder.
So, and also, I really like all of the scenes of the telethon. But my favorite scene of the telethon is when they're the barbershop quartet. So
Yes, and like
What
they
song were they
shriek.
singing?
Nirvana. It was Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
Yes. So good. And even Jack Black in this movie, I don't
That
really
makes
like
sense.
Jack Black that much, but I like him.
Oh yeah. What? Okay, enough.
When he was getting his head shrunk and stuff. It was all funny.
Yeah. That was good stuff.
He really was not happy to have been kidnapped and made to be a host of a show.
Well, and I liked that like everyone thought he was acting,
Right.
like
yeah.
like acting kidnapped, but
Yeah.
he like actually was kidnapped, which made it all the more funny.
That's a total Muppet thing too.
Oh yeah.
So the show starts closing out. Kermit and Piggy make up and they sing Rainbow Connection and it's wonderful. The power goes out a final time and then Tex Richmond comes up on stage.
They don't have enough money. No, Nate, they don't have enough money, so they need
Right.
more money. So Walter.
But hold on, they think that they're $1 off,
Right.
and Fozzie Bear accidentally knocks into the number counter, and it like recalibrates, and they realize that they weren't at $9,999. They were actually at $99,099.99. So they weren't even close to their 10 million.
They only had almost $100,000 instead of $10 million.
Yeah, but you skipped Walter's scene.
Oh, Walter, yes. So Walter had been built up this entire movie by Kermit. He's like, you're gonna find out what your talent is, and then he pulls the finale and he whistles.
I think that I was on the bike like watching.
He whistles,
and I was like, huh. Okay.
That's
like
that
was the only part that I was like, huh.
Okay,
right.
Sure. Go
That's
on.
kind of weird.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, really talented if you ask me. I think that whole whistling scene was awesome, but it kind of fell out of place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't even like whistling throughout the earlier in the movie or anything like that. It wasn't set up. Yeah, I think
that's kind of like also kind of shows that he wasn't really a Muppet, you know? He's kind of like Muppet-esque.
But it's interesting, like that doesn't seem like it's the message of the movie, you know? Like it should have been like he sees himself represented on screen by all these puppets, right? And he grows up loving them. He gets to meet them, and then he gets to be a part of them, and he's really good at it because he's been watching them for so many years.
Yeah,
but I mean,
exactly.
That kind of happens, except that it's pretty unimpressive the entire time that he's doing it. He's like, I don't know if I'm good enough to be a Muppet. I don't know. And then he gets up and does it, and I guess he is good, but it's like, hey, yeah, you're it, buddy. You got it. You're a Muppet now.
Muppet.
Still like Beaker more, but you're a Muppet.
Yep.
Definitely.
That's
like
it.
more than him.
They don't raise the money, but the Muppets are like famous again.
Oh, and they beat up Tex Richmond, so he's like, okay, you guys can have the theater back.
And your name.
Yes.
And
no brainer.
Yeah, all your stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And then Gary proposes to Mary.
Gary proposes.
But we don't know because they goes to my favorite part. Phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. Do do
Me.
Phenomena. Do do.
Me. So this is kind of the good thing. Not that we're gonna do the next movie right away or anything, or that we're even gonna do it. But like we said, Luis has only seen the second one before this, and the second movie literally cuts right where this ends. It starts right there. Like they're in pose, and then they're like, "All right, like that's the scene, everyone. Go ahead."
Oh, interesting. I've never seen the second one.
I think in that, like Jason Segel and
Amy Adams,
they like go home or whatever.
Yeah,
and
I don't think
they're not in it, and it's just a totally different story. And honestly, I think you see Walter like for 20 seconds on the screen.
Yeah,
right. It focuses a lot more on.
Well, I mean, he might be in the background doing Muppety things. He didn't talk though.
I thought he was. I'm either confusing him or Scooter, but like, because they kind of look a little tiny bit similar to me.
Walter's on the poster. He's on the poster for the sequel. Yeah, so I think
if it's not Scooter, then
I just don't remember him
his
having
name
like a
was,
piece, I guess is my point.
He wasn't one of the main dudes.
He's probably just like in the background, but I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, the sequel heavily focuses on Kermit and Miss Piggy.
As it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
They're the Muppets we want to see. And, you know, Walter is interesting, I guess, as he was in this. It's not that he wasn't necessary, but
he was, but he wasn't super Muppety to me, you know, so that's why I wasn't like, oh, I love Walter, you know.
No,
Muppets,
his job was to bring Kermit back on screen, and he did it. So
yeah. That's what he did.
Cheers.
Wait, go back to the Rotten Tomatoes. Well, the second movie on Rotten Tomatoes, Muppets Most Wanted, has an 80% critic score, but a 58% audience score. So that's interesting. But let's see what the Muppets has.
This movie on Rotten Tomatoes has a
Phenomena.
Yeah, please keep
Phenomena.
That's the whole thing about Phenomena.
This movie has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
The critics.
The critic score. It has an 80% audience score. It says The Muppets is a welcome big screen return for Jim Henson's lovable creations that will both win new fans and delight longtime devotees.
That's true. Does your mom like this movie? Has she seen it?
She hated Walter.
Ah.
Yeah.
I didn't really like
Yeah.
Walter either.
Well, it freaked her out that you want to know what she didn't like was that they were brothers. She couldn't
Right.
get over it. She was like, there is no reason that they should be like related
Right.
because
It is
it
weird.
doesn't make sense. I'm like, what else in this Muppet universe makes sense? Like,
The only thing that doesn't make sense to me is that they're around a similar age, but he's a kid to me and Gary's an adult. You know? But like
Well,
They
Walter's.
didn't seem like they were twins.
that's right. They're twins.
Oh.
Are they?
They might be.
Well,
They're around the same age.
Because like you usually don't play in the same baseball team unless you're like twins.
They might be.
yeah. And that was,
maybe
that
they're
was
Irish
really
twins or
skipped over
something.
really fast in the beginning. It was just like, oh, they're boys, they're brothers, they grew up together, and that was it.
Everything is great.
Awesome.
Everything is grand. I got the whole wide
Oh,
world
you got
in
it.
the
Oh
palm.
my beard, Oli.
There goes.
What you doing?
Everything is awesome. Okay, did it make money?
Yes, this movie did make some money. Not
Better.
a ton of money, but a ton of money for what it had. It had a budget of $45 million.
Even though it was obviously on a back lot? Like the whole opening scene, I was like, are we at Universal Studios? Like, it looked like it.
It was actually,
But that's very Muppety too.
yes.
Is it?
I
Okay.
think the budget is to pay all the people. Who
Seriously,
show
to
up.
pay all the cameos.
I think most of that money was towards the cast, and I guess maybe the puppets themselves, but I don't think that those cost that much.
No. Well, they
Um,
probably did that just because, like, on the show, they had so many celebrity guests.
Right? Yeah,
You know,
it's
so
part
they
of
were like,
it's part
oh,
of the
let's
Muppets
do, yeah.
whole deal. Yeah, so this movie had a budget of $45 million and ended up with a worldwide gross of $165 million. So
Oh, that's good.
they
Okay, so it made money.
quadrupled their take.
They made money.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. Of course, I mean, this for me, any Muppet movie you watch has plot holes. It's
Sure.
a Muppet
Yeah.
thing. It's not like it's going to be super succinct and you're going to be like, oh yeah, totally. Like, there's no issue. It's going to have issues. They're Muppets. They're
Right.
literally people hands. Like, there's going to be problems.
Right.
But for Muppet movies, this one, I agree with you now that we've talked through it, is the best. I mean, I have the nostalgic feeling for Christmas Carol and for Treasure Island, but
Is
this
there one
one,
where
like,
they go to space?
There is one where they go to space.
yeah,
I want to
Muppets
see
in
that. I want to
Space?
see that one. I bet I would like that one.
probably. I've never seen that one.
It's called Muppets from Space.
The caper, the Great Muppet Caper, that one's pretty cute. I have that one on DVD if you want to borrow it. But
Okay.
but this one like is the most succinct all the way across.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's because they didn't try to make the plot super congested. It's just doing a lot on each piece of the plot versus like having this really huge arc where it's like hard to like follow it.
Yeah.
Right. It's pretty simple stories, and there's only like 2 extra threads of like Gary and Walter's relationship and Gary and Mary's
Yeah, it's not
relationship.
complicated. It's simple, and they played into the humor and nostalgic factor and stuff like that. That's why I really like it. So I'll go first. I'm gonna give this Muppet movie a 9 out of 10. It's a really simple story. I really like the music. Like,
Yeah.
I know, Louise, you're saying it has too much of it in there, but it was just the right amount for me and the right amount of silliness, the right amount of humor. Because I think Muppets got a bad rep for me because, yeah, I always saw that little 3D Muppet show at California Adventure, but it wasn't that great.
No.
Like, that's why it's not there anymore. And so, like, that's what Muppets was engraved in my brain as, was like that. And so now I'd rather think of the Muppets like this, obviously, because that was, like, so good. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I really liked it.
There you go.
You going to go, Andre?
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think I agree with you on almost every level. I really like this movie. Only thing,
I just don't need Walter.
yeah, it's the Walter of it all, that he's this new main character, and he's really not popping, on screen. He's not giving me all the pizzazz that I want from a
And I need more Piggy and Kirby.
Yes, I wanted a little bit more of that, but I think you get that in the sequel, and there's
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it.
obviously tons of it in the past.
Sequel was funny.
Yeah, Muppets Most
I
Wanted.
might watch it.
I mean, he goes to prison. I mean, you gotta watch it.
He goes to prison. About
yes,
it.
yes, he goes to prison. But yes, I like this movie a lot. It felt good, like we said earlier. It was a really fun movie to chill out on, and just makes you feel good. Muppets are great.
I think it was like a good, like, this point in the shelter in place to watch, because like, you know, too early on, you're like still riding that it's going to be over soon. And now that we're like, it's not over anytime soon. It's like, I need something to just chill out and have fun with. And this was like really good to just be like, all right.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I was like eating my cereal, drinking my coffee, listening to the Muppets. It was like a good Sunday morning, like the best Sunday morning I had in a while. I was like, all right, I dig it.
Well, and I agree with you too, Michelle. I think that the music, yes, there was a lot of music in it, but half of the songs were done in a funny, very, very funny way.
Yeah.
That it was like, it wasn't like we were watching a musical. To me, it was like, I felt like it was it was used for comic reasons.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it was comedic on purpose. It wasn't just like, let's sing because we can. It's like, let's sing and
Right.
laugh because it's ridiculous. Like making fun of the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I appreciate. So I'm going to give it well, in Muppetdom, I'll give it a 9 for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not giving it a 9 against like other like animated movies, but in its own Muppetdom, I'll give it a 9. In like regular movies, I'll give it like an 8.5, I guess.
All right.
But I would totally rewatch it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I think I will probably watch the sequel.
What's your rating?
I'm 8.5. Jeez.
No.
He's over here like, oh, we're giving 2 ratings.
I just want to make sure how many we're giving, so I can go ahead and.
If
fit
you
them
weren't
in.
Rating it's a Muppet movie, whatever you feel like, Lou.
If you weren't watching the 2018 rerun World Cup, you would know.
In case you guys,
there's no soccer in this house, so we have to watch reruns.
Yeah. Plus, you guys already know my style. Why do you invite me? You already know.
We love you, Luis.
Why do you invite me if you already know how I am?
Luis, what do you give this movie?
I'm gonna disagree with you guys. First off, in terms of nothing against the quality of the music, it was awesome. I'll agree there. I disagree with the quantity. There was way too many. Take out 2 songs and I would have been happy. But like, I felt in one scene specifically, like we just caught our breath from like a long solo, and all of a sudden you're singing again.
Luis should.
But that's just my opinion. Besides that, I'll give it a solid 8.5 too. I enjoyed it a lot. Second one I thought was better, but
I
see why.
Like the Muppets.
I think that the one song that they could have done without, which I understand it was like a tie song, but the only song that didn't give me like was Kermit's song when he was singing about the people he was going to go pick up.
Yeah.
When he was in his house and he was looking at the pictures and they were like popping out of the pictures.
Yeah, I think you could have done away with that whole scene.
I agree.
Yeah, they could have
they were great
them up.
in the story.
Remember them.
Mm-hmm.
You know he was going to go pick them up. We don't have to think about them before we think about them. I'm just saying that was the only song where I was like,
I like what you're saying.
There are 24 songs on the soundtrack, but that includes like the popular music that was in there too. Not all just musical songs.
I don't mind any of that. It's just like. Yeah.
I will say that this movie made me want to watch Enchanted because it has a similar style.
It's got Amy Adams.
And I love Amy Adams. I love Enchanted. I was like obsessed with that movie.
We
can't watch it because it's in the vault right now.
It's not on Disney Plus.
When it decides to come on to Disney Plusies, we will do it because I've never seen it and I'm assuming it's cute because I've always heard that people really like it.
I love it. And I'm pretty sure I have it on DVD and I was going to ask my sister for it. So if she can find it, I'll give it to you to borrow because I was obsessed with that movie in like high school and would listen to the soundtrack all the time. It's like one of those underrated movies. It's like really good. All right. But next week, we're going to do a double feature.
Boom, 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 boom. 2 movies.
2 movies.
We know y'all need movies to watch, so how
So
about 2?
we're also trying to stay in our Disney Plus realm. That's why we're not going to do Enchanted because you can't really find it anywhere right now. So we're trying to appeal to you listeners, and we're going to appeal to our listeners who are.
I love that you're doing this. What's
it's
this
because
for?
I have the Kermit Muppet hand. Oh, Kermit. Why? we're gonna do a sci-fi movie, which I'm excited because I've been really getting into sci-fi and fantasy, and I'm determined to finish reading John Carter of Mars so I can watch John Carter. And
Hey, is it a slow read right now for you or what?
I'm like 3 chapters in because I'm reading that and The Hobbit at the same time, which was probably.
Why are you reading two
Yeah,
books?
dude.
What is that?
Don't
it was
hate
a
your
bad
life.
idea because The Hobbit was kind of slow at first, and so then I started the other one, and then that one's kind of slow at first. So now I'm like, what do I read?
One. Pick one.
Stick with the Hobbit.
All of
If
the
you
books.
can-
Hobbit's
if
an
you-
easy read at least. It's like quick, it's not bad.
If you think that's gonna be an easy read, then John Carter's will be easy.
When I'm done with the Silmarillion, I'll give it to you, and that's an easy read.
Oh, thanks. But anyways,
Took
I'm
me like
excited.
2 days to get through 10 pages.
Well, the other reason I think I'm gonna do The Hobbit first and finish it so we can watch all 3 of those movies on our new TV and hear Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug, the great and powerful.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna do John Carter Mars, and I'm gonna watch.
What's this worm?
But anyway,
Anyways, the point is that we're pretty big nerds here, and we like sci-fi and we like fantasy stuff. So we're gonna do a double feature of Tron.
we're gonna watch
R-O.
we're gonna watch
Tron and Tron Legacy.
the 1982 Tron and the 2010 Tron Legacy.
I've only seen Tron Legacy.
What
Yeah.
have you seen, Andre?
I've seen them both. But the first Tron, I don't really remember.
Have you
it.
seen anything, Luke? Have you seen any
I
Trons?
watched the last one, but I vaguely remember maybe like as a 5-6-year-old, my siblings watched.
And I know
Cycle.
none. So we have a very
Okay.
nice.
But do you
Makes
remember
those-
like the Tron themed California Adventure stuff they used to have?
I remember the dance party.
That thing was sick. That thing was so cool. And the light cycles and all of this. We're gonna have, and also Daft Punk did the music for Tron Legacy, and it's
That's
like
true.
really, really
It's a
dope.
good soundtrack.
So I am stoked to get. I love the dance moves.
Yeah.
Look at Ollie's arm.
There will be 100% less singing in the next double feature.
I love it.
Just Troning. We're gonna Tron Legacy it up, and I'm really excited. So listeners, let us know if you're excited too, because I've been wanting to rewatch this for a couple of years. We just haven't gotten into it yet, and that's the beauty of this podcast in quarantine.
Yes.
Get your movie on, y'all.
So,
And your dance on, apparently.
in the meantime, you can hang out with us on social media. We're on the internet just like you. We are at the Walt Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go there, hit us up, leave a message in the comments. Let us know what you thought of this movie, The Muppets, what you think of its sequel, what you think of all the other Muppet movies, what your score is, and if you're excited for next week's Tron films. Go there, do those things. If you want to help us out, you can hit subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. Hit like and share and all those fun things as well. You can leave a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Do that. That's helpful.
Andre's trying to give his outro. Stop it.
/the Walt Vault and
Yeah,
get.
the listeners like laughing babies.
I guess so. You can talk
Sorry,
over me, Ollie. It's fine. Go to patreon.com /the Walt Vault. We've got extra content over there. Sign up for $1. It's super cheap and you get a lot of stuff. Do it. Do it. That's been it for this week. We will see you next week for some Doubletron goodness. The vault is now closed.
Bye.